Congrats on setting up your website. Now that you've got that first step out of the way, you can start personalizing the website. In this video, we'll share best practices and highlight some essential features of UX design portfolios. Keep in mind, there is no right way to build your portfolio. Every designer, recruiter, and client has a different idea about what should be featured in a portfolio. It's most important to find a way to make yourself stand out from the other designers. You'll also want to express yourself in a way that fits your job interests. For example, if you're interested in specializing in interaction, visual, or motion design, your portfolio should showcase that type of work. Ready? Let's get started. Pro tip number 1, establish your personal brand. Your personal brand is the way in which your personality, unique skills, and values as a designer intersect with your public persona. We'll learn more about branding later, but the main thing to know is that your personal brand is the first impression you make. Your personal brand should clearly demonstrate who you are and what makes you interesting. Pro tip number 2, tell a story. Your website could easily turn into a list of links and photos, but to engage your audience, you need to tell a story about your design process with a beginning, middle, and end. This might mean that you start with an introduction of the design problem. Then in the middle, show the process you followed to complete the designs, like user research, sketches, and wireframes. Then end with an image of the polished design and an endorsement from your client or another person whose opinion you value. Pro tip number 3, be concise. Use minimal text to describe your work and highlight the key insights that help inform your decisions. Let your work speak for itself. If you need to explain your work in more detail, add links to other pages or PDFs. Pro tip number 4, keep your navigation simple and intuitive. The navigation is the way users get from page to page on a website. Users should be able to reach the home page from any part of your site, and your navigation should lead them from one project to the next. It should also be easy for users to navigate to the contact page if they want to get in touch with you. Your contact page should include your email address, a copy of your resume, and links to your professional social media accounts. Pro tip number 5, go beyond the template. Although a website builder's pre-designed layouts make it easy to get started, you need to go a step further. Customize your website to align with your brand and the story you want to tell. You should demonstrate your design skills and provide a good user experience. For example, remove the text that comes preloaded in the template and replace it with your own content. Also, register your own domain name so that your website's address doesn't contain the name of the website builder. You can buy a domain directly through website builders or through a third-party service. Pro tip number 6, include a diversity of projects. You should have 3 to 6 projects in your portfolio that demonstrate the range of your skills. At the end of this program, you'll have created at least 3 projects, so you'll be well on your way. Make sure each project shows a different facet of your design talents. Pro tip number 7, feature case studies. A case study leads the user through your design process from the beginning to the end. Your portfolio should feature case studies, not just mock-ups of design ideas. A case study answers these questions. What was the problem you were trying to solve? What process did you follow? Where did you succeed or fail? What insights inform your design decisions along the way? And what was the ultimate solution, and why do you feel that solution was the best? When describing case studies, you might want to include things like the project's name and duration, your role on the design team, including your personal contributions to the project, the project's goal, the research that was conducted, the intended audience, any sketches or wireframes, user testing results, the final design, and a conclusion about what you learned in the process. You'll learn more about each of these elements as you continue through the program. One more thing to keep in mind about case studies: be careful not to share any proprietary information or break a non-disclosure agreement if you have one. A non-disclosure agreement is a contract an employee might sign when working with a business in which they agree not to share sensitive information, like designs in the process of being developed. Pro tip number 8, make sure your website is responsive. Remember that responsive means the on-screen appearance of the website adjusts based on the user's device. So whether someone looks at your website on the desktop computer or mobile phone, they'll have a good experience. And finally, pro tip number 9, test your website. It's important to test your website on different devices to make sure it functions properly. For example, you might need to move buttons around or adjust images to fit on the mobile version of your site. You don't want to lose a recruiter's interest because they decided to pull up your website on their phone instead of their computer and found the text misaligned. Like we mentioned earlier, having a portfolio with a great user experience will impress potential employers. All right, that's it. It's a lot of work to build a design portfolio that tells your story and connects with users. That's why we're starting now. If you add new pieces to your portfolio as you build them, you'll be in much better shape when it's time to apply for jobs. To stay on track, schedule time to work on your portfolio every week. We'll remind you to add to your website as you complete projects and learn new skills. Coming up, we'll explore personal branding and why it matters so you can get to work personalizing your portfolio. Let's get to it.